Bringing the vision into a mission. This is Global Mission of Peace with the GoldFish Report, September 30th, 2015. I am Radagast, and I am joined by Louisa.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Sanjay.
G'day from down under.
And Sherry B.
Hello, happy to be spending this time with you guys.
And of course, our heart and soul, the ambassador.
Hello, welcome everyone. Today we will start with talk a little bit what's been happening, and I will give first the conversation over to the team here, and then afterwards I will make my own little explanations of what's going on. Okay, so maybe Sherry, would you like to start today?
Well, sure. There's so many great things to talk about. What I was thinking about, Ambassador, is just all of the things that are happening with Syria and with ISIS, and now we have Russia and China getting involved. And I believe it was on the GoldFish Report. It was certainly in our conversations. This is one of the many things that you had mentioned before it actually happened. So I'd love to talk a little bit today about what's going on right now, since we're just getting incoming news as we speak about Russia launches airstrikes in Syria, and of course how China and Russia are now playing a role and getting involved. If I can jump to you, Ambassador, and you can talk to us a little bit about this topic, which you had actually warned before it was actually happened.
The thing is this way, this is, is a plan, and the plan is finally, in full swing. What people have to realize is that the cabal, or whatever you want to call them, or the cartoon characters, they have been preparing for a very long time, programming people about hating ISIS and hating Muslims and hating jihadists, and how terrible the world is, and how we have to kill them, how we have to slaughter them, and so on and so on and so on. But at the same time, they were feeding this animal, and they supported this animal, and actually was behind that animal all the time. And basically, they're fulfilling the prophecy, which actually is a Quranic prophecy, when they said that don't take those Christians and those Jews as friends that conspire. Okay, and that text has of course been misinterpreted by a lot of us, says that don't take Jews and Christians as friends, but this is basically talking about the cabal, because that's basically Jewish and Muslims and Christians that sitting in their own little teams there and conspiring how to destroy humanity. And basically this is the ones that they were warning us about not to take as friends. And this is unfortunately the movement which they're calling the Islamic State today, Al-Qaeda, and we started with the Mujahideen in Pakistan, and they continued to creation of the Taliban, and later on so-called Al-Qaeda, and later on ISIS, and now some cartoon group called the Khorasan, where they also try to demonize a future event that's supposed to come, and try to prepare and fulfill prophecies as always. And what happened here now is that the whole world have seen what this satanic beings have been doing. I mean, they've been slaughtering people, killing people, doing all this tremendous thing, creating all this refugee crisis, creating all these things. And what we did was just turning it in reverse back to them, basically sending it straight back in their face. Now, you guys don't want to deal with it. You've been bombing supposedly ISIS in Khorasan, and nothing really happened. And suddenly Russia comes in, and China comes in and start taking out these people, and suddenly they start screaming, "Oh no, it's not ISIS! It's the good guys." I mean, okay, is it because that is your guys? Is it because you didn't want to bomb ISIS? How come that ISIS suddenly have surface-to-air missiles? How come that these surface-to-air missiles were never used against the Europeans or the Arab coalition that tried to blow up these people? And so the thing is this way, that you have to look at the situation here. very, very obvious that, now China is there, Russia is there, okay? And basically we need all the Muslim leaders, okay, around the world to start waging a war on ignorance, okay? And that's basically is to actually teach the proper teaching of Islam to the people, not the tempered with educational system that was enforced by the CIA and the Mossad for all these years and other Vatican organizations, and basically start teaching the true Islam as it's supposed to be. And it's important for, like we saw now with the Boko Haram situation here now when they stopped being arrested, was that they didn't even know how to read the Quran. They didn't even know how to pray. Huh? And the situation is this way: what type of Muslims are these people? They're not Muslims. And they don't understand. They're just doing whatever they've been told to. Now you have savages coming from all around the world. And when I'm meaning all around the world, I mean all around the world, joining something which they think is a jihad, which is not a jihad, because they're being sponsored by Zionist money. They're being sponsored by cabal money. They're being sponsored by things, and they're waging a war on their own Muslim brothers and sisters. And don't forget that they cannot wage war on the people of the books, which includes Christian and Jewish people, according to the Quran. Now, the situation here is that the Muslim leaders needs to come in. The people needs to come in there around and basically take distance from the fundamentalism. People who knows me well know that I was not a great fan of Assad. When this whole thing happened a long time ago, I was actually wishing that he would be removed, not in a forceful military manner. I wanted him to step away and have a proper election, and it could be done in a proper way. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, because that's not the way that Soros and his allies in Europe and America wants things to be done. They want to have violent revolutions, and they want to have menace and violence and, demonizing people and using people against each other. And this is what has been happening. Now, it's nothing you can say anymore. Now, I'm talking to you guys that is behind the scene. It's nothing you can say anymore, blaming it on this is the good guys, this is the bad guys. No, we are here to clean up this mess. And we're not leaving until this cancer is removed. I'm not saying, and I'm not pushing for anyone to be killed. Anyone who knows me well don't want to see anyone killed, not even these ISIS people. I want these people to surrender to the Creator, put down their arms, and let's make a dialogue and make Syria and Iraq a safe place for its inhabitants. And then they can use all the war budget that the United States wanted to use on bombing these people to death in helping the people come back to Israel and Syria, including Europe, to come back and live there where they were born and where they belong. Okay?
It's a good point, Mr. Ambassador, but what needs to be done in order to accomplish this? It sounds great, but what do you think? Did the imams need to step up, or is it simply just the government heads?
No, the people themselves also need to wake up. Okay? The thing is this way. This is what I stated many times. You can kill people, but you don't win heart by killing people. Now, the thing is this way. Even when this war will be down and ISIS will be gone, okay, you're going to have people that mourns their loved ones, okay? And the thing is this way, you're going to have people mourn their loved ones, even if they're Christians or Jewish or Muslim or Azadis or Yazidis or whatever you want to call them, they will still mourn their loved ones. So if you kill an Al-Qaeda member, you have a mother that's going to miss that Al-Qaeda member too. You have a brother and a sister to that Al-Qaeda member that's going to miss and love him too. We need to stop this vicious circle. So what we need to do is we need everyone to ask to basically put down their weapons. Okay? We need the religious establishment to actually start believing in God and start acting as godly people. And that because they have the responsibility in front of the Creator. we need the people to reconciliate and ask for forgiveness. This may sound traumatizing for people when I'm asking people to ask for forgiveness, but we have to all ask for forgiveness.
And
Okay?
we must forgive others.
Yeah. And the problem is this way: we created all this mess. Okay. Now we, when I say we, okay, people say, oh, and when me, I include myself. Now, or my country, unfortunately, was a part of the Afghan campaign. Okay. Now the thing is this way, that when you look at that situation there, it was no Afghanis that did the 9/11. Okay. Still, we were there killing people. If we wanted to go someone to do something there, I mean, now people want to blame, some people want to blame the Americans themselves, someone wants to blame the Jewish people, someone wants to blame Saudi Arabia, but it was not one single Afghani there. So why the hell was we in Afghanistan? Okay, we killed millions of people around the world, and we allowed our retarded governments to use our ignorance to justify, because of fear, because of hate, because of revenge. We allow that war machine to continue to fructuate, and that's what we need to put a stop to. Now, the thing is this way: what we need to do here is to tell people, we do not accept these bullshit stories from America and Europe anymore. This is the bad guys, this is the good guys. Yeah, we have seen how good you are and determine who is the good and bad guys in the history. And the history tells the truth, that you guys have not a good track record in telling who is good and who is bad. Okay? Now what we want to do here is basically, I don't want to kill anyone, like I stated. I want the people to surrender. I want these people to all surrender their weapons. And I want the people to do, basically sit down and create a new government representing the wishes of the people. Okay? And basically, we need to start the reconciliation tactics already now. People, don't forget one thing. Even the Christians coming to America, coming to Europe as refugees, are there because of us. What I mean with us, I mean Europe and America. Okay? We waged this problem for them. We let them be. We let their families die. We let their holy places being re-eradicated. Don't you think that they also maybe have a hate in their heart for us? I would understand that hate. But we need to reconciliate with it. I never wished when I and our people was saying, let's go to Syria, sending the Chinese and the Russians to clean up the meat. We meant it. Now we see the coalition, okay, of Syria, the coalition of Iraq, Iran, and other countries that is now working together to fight ISIS and all this terrorism. We need to remove all terrorism on the face of the planet, okay? And then we need to start the reconciliation thing. I believe a military complex and the people behind these crimes against humanity needs to reconcile and pay for it. We have seen already the currency reset is in the swing, and do not now say that the ambassador says that go and buy dinars and dongs because I'm saying it. It's nothing to do with it. I'm saying that the currency reset is on the swing. The collapse has already happened. Okay, it's just that you're being informed about it yet. You're going to have that trauma a little bit later. One of the biggest thefts in human history already happened. Okay, on the other hand, for all the doomsday prophets, okay, that missed their ejaculation, thanks to the fact that the world didn't end on the blood moon. The thing is this way: all these different type of things is being eradicated. We can change humanity by changing ourselves and taking the first steps in moving forward into a better society. And the only way we can do that is to wage a war on ignorance and also on financial tyranny. And the financial tyranny, okay, is staring us in our face every day as we're speaking. I'm going to do a lecture later on where we go into details on each and everything from how to defeat the certain object. Right now, because we're having the Syria crisis here, a lot of people are sharing on in happiness for these people and ISIS being killed. I'm not sharing. I'm shedding tears. Okay, why? Because they also have families. I think it's sad to see that humanity has come to such a low vibration as it is, but we need to do something to put a stop for it. And I congratulate President Putin and the President of China and all the other world leaders that is on the line of changing the world. And I hope that Obama will step aside from being loyal to his puppeteers and basically do what's right. I think that he's a good guy in his heart. It's just that he needs to allow that to be more present. And at the same time, I also think that in many regards, it was a great demonization of the Pope. Okay, and now again, people knows that I'm not a Christian. I'm not a person that supports the Vatican in any shape or form. But I have to recognize the good things that he said. He said a lot of good things during the United Nations. He voiced exactly what we've been talking about. And he did it and basically was being hated and traumatized for it by the Christian fundamentalists who believes that the military complex is the way to go and who believes that poor people should suffer and the rich people should be richer. And we should, do all the things that basically talks against what the teaching of Jesus do. When he says something that actually resonates with the essence of Jesus, suddenly he's a communist and he's an antichrist and the red dragon even. But this is what we have to stop. We have to stop this, what's called the low frequency mindset we have. I think and hope and pray that he means what he says and that he would he has a lot of enemies for what he's doing inside the Vatican, rest assured. So give the support and prayers for him and hope that he's meaning it from the heart and that he will follow through with his promises. And I want to be a positive person, not just sitting and crucifying people. I even have hope for my enemies. Okay? And this is what is important here. We need to do what we need to do to change this planet into a better place. And I think that that is what we need to keep the focus. We need to be positive, not only always negative, and try to see it. Because, no war is nice. Okay? No bombs is nice. Bombs doesn't see if you're Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu. It only sheds blood and life. Okay? So it's very important for us to see that no war is positive. I understand that some people have a lot of hate and furious, but we need to remove this negativity. And, one way is to do it in a military way, but the most important way is to do it by waging a war on ignorance. And basically the Muslim leaders needs to reinforce true Islam in the whole regions of the Middle East and around the world. And we need to eradicate all this form of fundamentalism, if it's Christian fundamentalism, Muslim fundamentalism, Jewish fundamentalism, Buddhist fundamentalism, because there you have Buddhist terrorists too, and Sikh terrorists or whatever. Anyone that feels that they need to use violence to get their wishes forward is a terrorist, in my opinion. So it's important for us to sit down in a dialogue and try to find what is unifying us. And the values are unifying us, at least in all the religions, is to being good at people. And that's what we need to put our focus on. Okay. Is it anything that anyone else would like to say? Because now I've been speaking and ranting.
I would.
Yes.
I would, one of the things that you mentioned months ago when there was a lot of, let's say, kerfuffle, to use a Yiddish word, was Jade Helm. Everyone, Jade Helm's going to do this, Jade Helm's going to do that, Jade Helm, Jade Helm. And I mean, in my own private speakings, I spoke about it, but you spoke about it to the public, and you basically said, greet the soldiers as people who work for you, just basically stay calm. That and now Jade Helm has ended, and there's Walmarts are still empty, and FEMA camps are still empty. I mean, all of the hysteria and all of the the craziness that went around Jade Helm has now come and gone. And basically, that was your counsel that do not get excited and don't do anything stupid. And if you don't do anything stupid, they won't. And it looks like it went very smoothly, actually.
And I think this is what you need to do. This is like what we're talking about, turning or deflecting energy. You need to deflect all the negative energy away from you. And when it becomes too much, you turn it against the person. Okay. Now, the important thing is here is, like I've been saying from the beginning, you need to look yourself in the mirror. Okay. You know, you see people like Sarah Palin. I mean, I use her as an example many times because I think she's a beacon of ignorance. And the thing is this way, that when you look at a person like her, she's resonating with a lot of weird people. Okay. And the thing is like that, what unifies these people is one thing: fear. All of these people are fear-based. I would tell you a very personal story. It was a girl once that I loved very much. And, you know, she was a Christian fundamentalist. And she basically, you know, wanted to bring me to a church. And I followed her and listened to her the meeting. And then she said, "What did you thought about?" And I said, "I thought it was quite insane." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I mean, the only thing you guys talked about was fear-based thing. And the guy was talking about how great it was to how we find Jesus in the military. It didn't resonate with the essence of Jesus. And what he was telling there, you know, sounded to me almost insane and very contradictory to what is the message of Christianity." And then she says, "Oh, are you not scared of dying?" I said, "I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of not living." And this is what is the problem here. You know, people are too scared of living, okay, and so that they are all based in the fear and the anxiety of dying, and so that they are not even able to live. Now, I want to give a recommendation to Mr. Hagee, okay, the one who writes this For Blood Moons things. Unfortunately, his prophecies didn't be fulfilled because he didn't read the Bible. And basically in the Bible it says that no one will know the time and date for the end times. And, you know, what he should do is to donate all the money from his book sales and basically give it to the poor people. Maybe help it to recollect these Christians, you know, that is now displaced, or something good, or the people that, you know, became totally traumatized. The day when Jesus didn't return, the day that you were thinking that he's supposed to return, maybe it's time for you to surrender. Now, you have to start reading the scriptures. This is not only the Muslims that needs to read the scriptures, the Christians need to wake up to more than anyone else, including the Jewish people. Now, why I'm just using these three religions is because it's these three religions that traumatize the planet most of any other religion of the history of this planet. Okay? So we need to address these three groups because these three groups doesn't respect any other people or any other cultures or any other form of things. They want to force their will and their insanity on people. And I think that God is tired of having his message being hijacked by these three groups of insane people. Okay? Now, I don't say that all of these people are insane. I'm talking about some of these extreme fundamentalists in all these three religions. And we need to wake up to the reality that actually God doesn't love me more than Radagast. Okay? He loves us equally. Equally. Okay? You wanted to say something?
Louis.
Yeah, Louis.
You know, I think just sitting here listening, you know, one of your missions here is to wage the war on ignorance, but you talk about it in a really from a God consciousness perspective, and this is what I've noticed. You know, it's difficult to talk about war. It's difficult to talk about these agendas and not feel like it's negative. But when you're talking about it, when you're talking about it, you're talking about it from a God consciousness perspective and level. And it doesn't sound negative because, you know, you have to listen when the ambassador's talking about this. He says it with compassion. I mean, when he says that, you know, he talks about it in a compassionate manner to care for even the enemy's families because they're hurting as well. What politician is saying this anywhere on this planet? None of them. Not one is saying this. So I think what the ambassador is really embodying here is a consciousness. It's a different consciousness that we really need to aspire to. And, you know, so you can forget about, you know, yes, the leaders need to step up and do their job, but how do they do that? Where do they go with it? And you don't have to keep it in the religious you know, parameters, because I think what the ambassador is saying is you really to have it with a compassion. It's like, with a conscience, to kind of do what you're doing with a conscience. And so I wanted to say that I know you made the comment that, you didn't want this to be negative, but I didn't hear this message that you're giving as negative. I heard it as compassionate, because you really weren't being judgmental. You're not being judgmental. You're trying to say that God loves everybody the same. And people do make mistakes, and people do go awry, and people may be misled. We're very easily misled. We're like children. I mean, you can't really blame children for not knowing things and not taking action. I mean, we are ignorant. We're goldfish, and we do have to wake up. But we're all on different levels of spiritual growth, so it's very hard to do that. But your message is one that I think people can really, regardless of really what religion you are, I think everybody can embrace this feeling of compassion. You want to solve the problems, but you want to be compassionate about doing so. And I think that that's going to resonate with the viewers of the Goldfish Report, because you're not trying to come across as saying one's better than the other. There's problems with all of them. I mean, you're calling on, obviously we have problems with the Christian community, obviously we have problems with the Islam community and Muslim community, and that's it. I mean, they've all been adulterated, and when you get down to it, you really kind of pull out what I hear you're saying. What I hear your perspective is you're kind of pulling out really the things that matter the most in the religion itself. And that's what I hear, and is that I think that's what you're communicating to people. So I don't think that it's a negative message. You have to talk about the problems of the world. We have to talk about them. But without being judgmental and making it sound like one is better than the other. And I want to tell you that I appreciate this wonderful perspective that you have. And it really kind of stood out, because it's a different message. It's not the message that all the other leaders are saying. And I really wanted to thank you for that, because it's definitely a different message.
One thing that I want to state, which is very important, okay? People say that, the ambassador is, a supporter of Putin and so on and so on. And I have to tell you the truth, I grew to like him, okay? When he was waging his war in Chechnya, the start of his thing, and the things what was going on there, and some of the things that I was seeing, I didn't like, okay? I have to tell you the truth. And basically, after the time gone by, if you go and look at Dagestan today, and you look at the Caucasus, okay, and look what happened with Chechnya and all these places. Now it's stable, it's flourishing, and people basically having a great life, okay. And the opening of the mosque in Moscow was a pure reconciliation between what was going on in the past. I think that he had to be harder sometimes when he needed. And even if I didn't like what he did at that time, I can today see that actually it was needed, because otherwise probably we would have another continuous CIA operation going on in the Caucasus that would be leading to a worse thing. Now we see the same thing happening in Ukraine. And I want people to wake up to a situation here. You all are Slavs, okay? Whether you like it or not. Most of you are even the same religion, Orthodox. You have some Tatars that are Muslims and so on and so on. But other than that, I mean, you have to start realizing, okay, that the best way to something is by discussion, not by violence. Okay? You have to sit down and find solution to things. You will not find solution with war. Okay? The solution thing is not war. We had the First World War, didn't accomplish anything. We had the Second World War, it didn't accomplish anything. After the Second World War, United States killed over 30 million people. It didn't help a shit. Okay? We removed so-called dictators to implement democracy. And we created menace. Okay? Why? Because we decided who's supposed to be the leaders in these countries. Okay? Let the people themselves choose. You alienated the Christians when you didn't punish Tariq Aziz, but by the way, I don't think that Tariq Aziz should be punished, but still you killed the Muslims. So of course you create then ill will from the Muslims against the Christians because you basically were nicer against the Christians. All these small schemes that you guys been doing needs to cease to exist. Okay, we need to allow people, like people talk about negatively about Iran. Okay, now, you know, Iran has, you know, 30,000 Jewish people. They have a Christian minority group, but all of these people are part of the government. Do you find the same thing in your allies in Saudi Arabia? Now, people should know I'm not supporting anyone else, because I'm supporting at least that it's more democratic, at least, than most Arab states. I think probably Iran is probably the only democracy almost in that region. And every time they try the experiment of the democracy in Pakistan, they need to use the military to de-corrupt them after a while. Okay? And because the politician goes high-mac. Okay? Now, the thing is this way, I have seen in the past that the military actually caring more for the people than actually what the politicians do. And I think that it's time that we leave over the security issues to the military of each country, and then reinstate a new elections and a new political system where they are part of developing, not enforced by a certain agenda, and that the funds that is for the oil things should be not handled by anyone else than the people. This is what Putin said during his speech, that basically the people should choose the leaders, not Europe and America and Russia or China should decide who's supposed to be leader of a country. Okay? I think that Bashar al-Assad should take into consideration that what we're doing is not in the support of you. We're doing it in the support of the people of Syria. Okay? And I think that it's time for you also to start reconsidering how you can repurpose yourself for the future. Okay? And because you also need to repent. And it would be a nice thing if you would start repenting too. And it's very important that all these people, it's no one that is not guilty. It's not one reason why two people is arguing. Okay? And of course, crimes has been committed on both sides. And now it's time to reconcile and move further into a safe environment where we can live to coexist. People are escaping to Europe. Okay? Europe has many forms of religions. You have Christians there. You have people actually that come to Finland where they're greeting you with fire cocktails and Ku Klux Klan clothes. I mean, that you have you know, if you talk about ISIS, that's you know, the reverse coming there. You have people, as said, Steve is not there. I was seeing it last time we were there, all the demonstrations going on, this anti-immigration things. We're seeing Nazi parties skyrocketing. I see people, you know, hating all these foreign people that comes here. It's not very nice to escape a country where you're hated and being received in another country where you even hated even more. Okay? Now, it's important for people that, you know, it's like you look at Palestine in the past and Israel, where Muslims and Jews lived side by side and without any problems. And where actually, you know, many times even the Jewish people had to escape to the Muslim countries to escape the Christian tyranny. And now the thing is this way, it's time for Isaac and Abraham to unify. It's time for the Jewish people and the Muslims to live side by side in peace. And it's time for the Christians to stop playing games in between. Okay? The situation is this way, is that it's important for us now to try to reconsider and work together. Okay? And basically put down our grudges. And my recommendation to all these people is to put down your arms, okay? Leave it over to the military. Make a plan of reconciliation where people surrendering, they will not be abused by the Syrian military or others. Maybe it's important that this peace group that the Chinese president is coming into place immediately with the United Nations soldiers to stabilize both areas, to make sure that no crimes against humanity is being used by any of these other governments against the people actually surrendering is probably a lot of people that feel forced to work for ISIS and similar type of organizations. You need to make it feel safe for people to surrender, so that basically, otherwise people are going to just fight to the end, just because they know either way they're going to be killed when they be arrested. So it's important for us to now find a solution where you come out with the United Nations, international community comes in, and basically find the peace corps, let the Chinese soldiers and the Russian soldiers come in, and with other nations too, and basically be there to oversee the activities of Iraqi military and the Syrian military, that they will not do like America did, create concentration camps there and torture people and kill people. So it's important that we need to not repeat the history one more time. And we need to look at a concrete plan, okay, where we can basically allow people to surrender without consequences. If they have committed crimes against humanity and it can be proven in court, they need to be taken care of that. But other than that, we need to find an incentive that people are not in self-defense fighting to the last line, because if they put down the arms, they're going to be killed by ISIS. And if they put down the arms, they will be killed by the Syrian military or similar things. This should not be there. That's why it's important that independent people that do not have grudges is there to supervise everything that happens. No concentration camps, no crimes against humanity, no torture, no beheadings, no bottles up the ass and then break it like you like to do in these countries from time to time as torturing people, and even in so-called allied countries. All this wickedness needs to stop, okay? And then we're going to be able to flourish and have heavens on earth right now, okay? That's my advice today to the leaders of the world, and this is a recommendation from my side, and I believe that this recommendation that I'm giving will be honored, and I believe that this is the only solution to move forward. Then the Americans cannot blame the Assad support story too, because it may be America can even send their own supervisors from the United Nations, and Britain and Germany or all of others, make an international group, peace group of the United Nations that comes in and supervise the local military to make sure that they don't commit crimes against the prisoners and others, okay? And also we need to have, like I said, a reconciliation. If you give up, if you reconciliate, if you do things that is good, you should, have something for it also. Okay, very good.
Sanjay?
Yes, and now you can see, guys, why I love this man so much, and I'm actually here with him on his mission, and I'm honored to be able to be part of this, right? This is what the ambassador stands for. Like, I mean, very few people will ever say, let the enemies go. And here he's bringing the human into this, right? It's not terror, it's not fear, it's the human. Because even on the other side of the fence, there is families, there's people, right? This is what the ambassador's war, or it's the wrong word to use, war on ignorance. It's basically awakening. Empowering is the word we should use on ignorance, like, awakening people and empowering them. This is why he's like got this thing, seeking the greater understanding and building a better universe together. And you can see how he's doing it. He's even like saying, let's consider the families of the other side. Let's not create a tsunami of refugees by putting bombs down, right? I mean, our sister Angelina Jolie said on Facebook the other day, Ambassador was sharing with us earlier, and I've looked at it on Facebook. She's basically talking about ISIS and a Christian family trying to get through the control area of ISIS. And they asked the Christian family, are they Muslim? And obviously they're Arabic. So in Arabic, they said yes. And they quoted a quote out of Bible. And the wife was all scared, and the terrorists let him go. And then the wife said, why did you do that? They could have got us. And the person said that these guys have no understanding of religion, right? This is the same thing as we go Boko Haram in Africa. It's saying no books, no knowledge, right? So we put them in this category of Islamic fundamentalists, but they don't even understand Islam themselves. So how can we put them Islamic fundamentalists? Fundamentalists, yes. We've got all sorts of race and religion fundamentalists, but we do not, we should not put religion into this. And this is what Angelina Jolie was basically trying to say. And like what I said with that was we're spreading fear in the name of God under the guise of religion, right? What we should really fear is each one of us should fear our Creator. When we have to stand in front of our Creator and be answerable to our Creator, right? How will we stand? Can we stand in front of the Creator after doing all this stuff? We are trying here at Global Mission of Peace to create a global family, right? And that is oneness, right? We have to, and as you can see, our leader, the ambassador, his vision, how he is, like he's trying to say, let's put peace people there. I mean, obviously, the way the West has done all this time, NATO, or whatever you want to call it, Australia's part of it, has not worked. Like, I mean, we went to Iraq years ago, and we lost so many good men and women, and their families have suffered, right? Now, they never fixed the problem. Iraq's still a problem, right? Afghanistan. Let's not create another Iraq and Afghanistan in Syria, right? Let's change the guard. Let's let Russia and China and the other BRICS nations take the leading role and everyone else support, right? Instead of just going and aggressing there, right? Let's not find excuses, oh no, they're bombing the wrong people. So who have we been bombing up till now? Have we been bombing the wrong people too? Because, I mean, it's created a lot of problems. Look at what's happening in Europe. There's a tsunami of refugees, right? So, I mean, we need to come together. We need to transform. Each one of us needs to transform ourselves first. And once we transform ourselves, it will automatically transform our society, right? And only then we will achieve true peace. And it goes back to, again, ambassadors saying, with you know, learning the truth, we need to know. That's going to remove the ignorance. Learning to do, which is action. Learning to live together in fusion. Learning to be peace. And learning to transform oneself and society's prosperity. So unless we have the truth and we do the action, do the infusion, we cannot have peace and prosperity and sustainable future. Everyone needs to wake up. It's time for us to have a sustainable future with peace, right? Put down weapons, surrender. Let's have love, not war.
That's beautiful, Sanj. You're absolutely right. And I think that we are almost out of time. And what I'd like to do is, we had a very powerful message today. I'd like to ask everybody if they have any closing comments. Sherry, do you have any closing comments?
Yes, thank you. What the ambassador mentioned, and Sanj just reiterated, ambassador talked about low frequency mindset and talking about putting down our arms. And I think that low frequency mindset is hate, fear, anger. It's something that's been programmed into humanity in many different ways, and wrongly even through certain ways of religion, as we discussed today. But I think it's really time for us to be re-educated, to awaken, to exist in a higher vibration. I think that's really key. And a lot of that has to do with forgiveness. Many of the things that we touched on today, but I do have a lot of hope for humanity. And I think we're living in some of the most amazing times right now, and we're certainly going through a transformational period. So I'm happy to be here sharing all this with everyone, all the listeners, and to be here with the ambassador at this time. So thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. That's beautiful also. Really beautiful messages. And Radagast, did you have any closing comments that you'd like to make?
Yes, just beware of disinformation. Like right now, the Syrian campaign is kicking off with Russia doing what it's doing. And apparently there's been a lot of false reporting about things that are being said between the Russians and the Americans that are kind of are very belligerent. And apparently a lot of these stories are not even true. They're planted by intelligence agencies. We won't mention any countries, but they're planted to create an antagonism and a belligerence that doesn't really exist. But once they get released into the stories, people react to the stories, including the governments who know it's false intel. But a lot of the politicians don't necessarily know that, and they go off and they start shooting their mouths off, and then next thing you know, World War III is right around the corner. So everybody, please, don't believe when people saying, oh, Russia's telling the United States, if you fly, we're going to shoot your planes out of the air. That's a bunch of nonsense. Don't fall for it. Don't let yourself get worked up.
That's right.
Also, my last word I wanted to state, which is most important here, is that we need to stop with this escapism. Okay, this escapism is basically the biggest threat to humanity. It has been implanted in us for thousands of years. Someone else has to save us. Someone else will save us. We will be raptured. We will do this. We'll do that. We never want to take responsibility for everything. You see the escapism with all these things going on with all these different funny organizations claiming to be saviors. Escapism, okay, is basically the biggest threat to humanity. Now I'm giving everyone a warning, a friendly one, okay? You will not be able to escape your deeds. No one will. And it doesn't matter, okay, if you think you go in and pay some money for that, or you do this like this. It's like I was watching, someone was offering, please pray for George Bush Sr. He's dying. The family was asking for his prayers. I think that George Bush needs to pray for himself. Okay? He needs to repent. I wouldn't want to be in his footsteps for anything on the place on the planet. Okay, for what he's been doing. And now I'm giving this as a recommendation to the world leaders and other people. Stop living in this escapism. You might feel powerful now, but in front of the Creator, you will feel like nothing. And none of your deeds that you have done will go away. Okay? Not just because you magically say that Jesus died for your sins, not going to save you. Okay? What's going to save you is true repentance for your own actions. No one else will save you other than yourself. Stop with this escapism. You know, I'm going to change the world when the RV happens. How many times have I heard that? Okay? I'm going to change the world if I just had money. I'm going to change myself just if I have this. I'm going to change myself just if this happens. Change yourself now, because the day tomorrow might not be. Okay? So stop living in escapism, live for today, and change today. With that, I want to thank everyone for listening to GoldFish Report. God bless you all, and my love with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if you want to follow us, you can go to globalmissionofpeace.com. If you want to see more intimately really what this mission is about, you can join the symposium, which is a weekly meeting. There's links on the website. There's links on the goldfishreport.com and at cbcglobaleducation.com. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. And this concludes this edition of the Goldfish Report.